Hello everybody and happy Friday. Today being Friday, November 22nd is National Take a Ride Day. So we figured that it'd be very fitting to do a Facebook Live today to have you guys take a ride with us and learn all about our bulk and tanker division here at Schneider. Want to introduce my colleagues here. We have Courtney, who's in driver recruiting, as well as Marissa. So we are live. Go ahead and start putting in those comments, questions below. Today we really want to focus on tanker and that line of work. If you have general questions, we'll certainly answer those as well, but the main focus today is to talk more about that tanker division. Wanted to kind of start out with, a lot of times when you see us on these videos, we get the comments below, well, have you guys ever driven and what do you guys know about transportation?
Yes.
So, we have constant classes that we are in and training that we have here at Schneider as well. So that is for all associates, not just in recruiting, but anybody in those office roles. We do have a lot of different classes here with the company, and the reason why we wanted to do the tanker video today is we actually had just completed a tanker class, which was almost like a board game, if you will, going through the day-to-day operations of what the driver goes through, what customer service and operations goes through, and it was a really great learning of potentially running a make-believe tanker truck driving company to see what is all entailed more than just us recruiting drivers for the position. So have a lot of great learnings from that. Want to share them with you guys. So start funneling those questions in. Let's kick off with talking about the endorsements, because I know for tanker, that's one of the big things a lot of drivers ask about, what endorsements are required with those accounts.
Right. So I guess there is a top three that come to mind. So, and not every position requires all three. I'd say it's always better to have than not. So, always a tanker endorsement. Makes sense. You're driving tanker, you need a tanker endorsement. Just allows you to haul a variety of liquid freight. The hazmat endorsement, hazmat hauling a hazmat load. So if a load is considered to be, hey, this needs to be specially handled or whatever it may be, it's a hazmat load, you need an endorsement for that as well. And the last one we get, and which is not always the one that you always need, but a majority do, is a TWIC card. So Transportation Worker Identification Card. Allows you in and out of a variety of different ports. Because a lot of the tanker customers require you in and out of a variety of different ports throughout the country. Those are kind of the top three as to what you need. Now, getting them are a little bit different, but we'll kind of talk about that too. But those are the top three, the main three endorsements on top of your Class A CDL.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I don't know whether you wanted to expand on how to go about and get everything or how that works.
Yeah, so with the hazmat endorsement, we have this new program called the Bumper to Bumper program. So it is a self-paced online program to work at obtaining your hazmat endorsement. It is really nice, when you're, deciding to go on a tanker position, having that learning there, the tools that you need to succeed. We have seen a lot of success with the program. So for, the tanker opportunities, hazmat is not required at time of hire. We will work with you to obtain that endorsement.
Yep. And one of our bulk leaders had mentioned that those that are going through the self-paced online program, those who are scoring like 80% or above on these exams or these practice tests, once they go to the DMV to take that take the actual exam, we haven't seen anybody fail it yet. So that's really, really ideal, because what's different with a hazmat endorsement versus tanker is hazmat, a lot of it takes a long time to get. That's why we don't require it the time of you're hired. Hazmat and TWIC cards require background checks, hazmat fingerprinting, so it just takes a long time. And we don't want you to be waiting to go to orientation because you're waiting on an endorsement. It's kind of silly. So we will do, that's why we give you this program while you're in orientation, so that you can, work to get it instead of while you're in orientation. It's kind of a, one-off. Whereas tanker, you just go to the DMV, you take an exam, normally a written exam or online, however your DMV does it, and it's easy, boom, on your license. So that's why we kind of go through this self-paced program, essentially.
Yeah. And speaking of hazmat as well, depending on the line of work, but for tanker, we do reimburse back for the endorsement.
Yes.
So save all of those receipts. You can hand those into your DBL. It does have to be within 30 days of obtaining the endorsement. So as soon as you get, the endorsement in hand, get those receipts handed in right away. We do also do that reimbursement for other lines of business, so it's not all of them. Just ask your recruiter or your DBL if we do that reimbursement for the hazmat. One of the other questions that we get a lot, speaking of endorsements, is the cost. How much does it cost to get these endorsements? Because we don't reimburse back for the tanker endorsement. But the question is, or the answer is, I should say, it really depends on where you're located. Each state is going to have a different cost for those endorsements. And kind of going off what Courtney was saying as well, the tanker endorsement, I am told, is much easier to obtain, much quicker. It's an exam versus all of the other steps with the hazmat and TWIC. So if you are thinking of tanker and you're, oh darn, I don't have that tanker endorsement yet, it is one of the easier ones, if you will, to obtain. So don't let that stress you out. Go ahead and get those materials at the DMV, start studying, and you typically can get that quite quickly.
Right, absolutely. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. If you want to keep bringing questions in, we'll answer those questions too. Ramon asked if you've had your CDL for 4 years but haven't used it yet, do we take new drivers? Absolutely. So that's one of the really awesome things about tanker or a lot of our positions we have here at Schneider is they're open to all CDL holders. So this will definitely be majority of tanker accounts will take all CDL holders. So if you haven't used your CDL in 4 years, that's okay, as long as it's active, up to date.
And the physical
current.
as well.
Yep, everything is current, up to date. We have plenty that we can get you into, and we'll talk a little bit more about orientation too, as to what goes in and out and all that type of stuff. So if you haven't been in a truck for a little while, it's okay. We'll get that taken care of for you.
And we had another question just come in from Michael asking, do you guys pay for our permit? So
like a CDL permit?
I'm assuming that's what you're asking. So we do not pay for the CDL permit. That is something that we do put on the driver, that you do have to obtain that. You also do have to get that valid Class A before you are eligible for the positions here at Schneider.
Right. Ari also says, I have hazmat and tanker. Awesome. Ari, you're like already halfway done then. So just basically apply
at Schneider Jobs.
At Schneider Jobs. You can definitely obtain that real quickly. Or if you already have your endorsements too, I mean, man, then life is so much easier and simple. So and it's one of those things, if you don't need it on something, I always say just get it.
It will open up so many doors.
Yes, 100%. Now, a lot of people ask, Robin had asked, what's the average mile for tankers? It really depends on the position. Obviously, a regional position would be less miles a week than an over-the-road position. We have some dedicated tanker accounts, depending on where you live. Those can be more or less for that as well. Really, the key to, and I tell a lot of the drivers I get on the phone when I say the average mile per week, they say, seems kind of low. There's a reason to that. So when you as a tanker driver, when you are at a customer, you yourself are going to actually be loading or unloading the tank majority of the time. So that time then at the customer is spent not on the road, not getting miles. So a lot of people see, well, I'm not getting a ton of miles. This seems kind of crummy. Well, you are then compensated for that as well. So when the time you spend loading or unloading a tank, then you're getting compensated for that too. So we refer to it as accessorial pay.
Yep.
So what do you want to talk a little bit more about accessorial pay as well, and kind of what that entails?
Yes, so it is additional pay that you get on top of the rate per mile pay. So just like Courtney was talking, when you are at the customers, when you're doing a load or an unload, you are going to get additional pay for that. So it's not all in just the rate per mile pay. And I think it's good to, know that, because, you do so many different types of, duties on the tanker. You're not just driving, it's not a drop and hook. And then the loading and unloading of the bulk liquid chemicals, safety is our number one core value. So we want you to be safe, not in a rush doing that, but just know that you do get that additional pay as well.
Right. Rick asked, he wants to drive when he's retired at 62. Is that too old? Never.
No.
We don't have an age limit or cap. If you can do the work, we'll take you on board. So if you want to come on, and it is more physical work because you're obviously loading and unloading with hoses that are heavy and things like that.
Yep.
But if you can do it, we'll bring you.
Yeah,
awesome.
So Rick applied.
Come apply.
Yes, come apply. And Ari said he already did apply. So
Awesome.
that's good.
That is great. Also did want to touch a little bit more on pay as well. For individuals that are really looking for those highest paid positions, tanker for that cents per mile is definitely going to be the higher pay in the cents per mile. Even if you're an inexperienced driver, you're starting out at a higher rate. The reason we do that is because we know you have those endorsements or are going to be getting those endorsements, and you are working potentially with those hazardous chemicals. So that's why that cents per mile is higher. So for those people that are really looking to make that big money right off the bat, might not have all that experience, would definitely, say go for the tanker position.
Yep.
Also, too, speaking of, over the road on that mileage or regional or dedicated, we also do have some home daily tanker positions as well. So, that mileage question, great question, but once again, a home daily is not going to have the mileage that a over the road where you're out for 2 or 3 weeks at a time is going to have. But we do have home daily in particular areas as well.
Right. On top of all that, not just in our tanker division, but with majority of the positions we have performance pay too. So we look at your on-time delivery, safe driving, fuel efficiency, and with that, you can, based on those metrics, you can add additional pay to that rate per mile. So what you come in at might not be where you're going to be at in a couple months if you're being safe and on time and things like that too. So it's usually anywhere from an extra 2 to 4 cents. So you can really bump that up if you're looking to make a little extra bank too.
And as well as a sign-on bonus. Not all accounts offer it, but we do have a sign-on bonus as well. There is typically a difference in the sign-on bonus between the experienced driver and the inexperienced driver. They're paid the same way. So 45 days after date of hire, you get the first installment from the sign-on bonus, and then you continue to get those given to you in increments throughout the first year with the company. So by that 1 year anniversary, you've received the full sign-on bonus. It just was given out in sections.
Right, absolutely.
Yep, and another note to add, tuition reimbursement. So if you are, a new driver just getting started, we do have tuition reimbursement. We will reimburse you $200 per month up to $7,000 for the total cost of your tuition. So really another great bonus, another incentive.
So if you have all these different incentives and tuition reimbursement, you do quite well. You know what I mean? Just being a new driver or experienced, whatever it is. So keep coming in with the different questions. Lito asked if you have your, do you have paid okay, so if you have your permit and medical card, can we come on board? So now, we currently right now, if you have your permit, you just need to obtain that Class A CDL in order to get, that additional, to get on board to start, because we need that in order to start, your training orientation, you need that Class A CDL. So, in terms of other questions we've had coming in, Anthony asked what does your tanker haul? Anything.
Bulk liquid chemicals.
A lot of things. So think of anything liquid. Honestly, is something that we could haul from everything from water,
food grade chemicals.
Yep, chemicals, water treatment polymers,
antifreezes, latex is one of the most common liquids that we do haul. Herbicides, bleaches, treated water, like you had mentioned. A lot of people ask if we haul gas, like going to gas stations to deliver the fuel. We do not do that fuel part of it. A lot of other liquids we do, but that we do not currently do.
Right. So think of anything liquid freight. I want to go back to, you mentioned latex. So one of the things too that we always make sure that we're asking our drivers if they're coming on board with a tanker position, because we have seen it. Unfortunately, latex is more of a common allergy. So unfortunately, if you have any sort of latex allergy, we wouldn't be able to put you on a tanker position. Again, being safe. Even if we aren't for sure if you're going to haul it or not, we don't want you to get in that position where, oh, hey, now you have a tank full of liquid latex and you're incredibly allergic.
We don't want that to happen.
How are you going to unload it or anything like that? So, unfortunately, that's just one of the many different criteria that we have if you're going to be, hauling any sort of liquid at,
Right.
at any time. So.
And we do have another question that just came in from Anthony. I just started watching What Does Tinker Pay? First of all, thank you for watching. Also want to promote that we are live, so continue to put those questions, comments below. I'm April, just quicker to introduce ourselves.
Courtney.
Marissa.
And we're all in driver recruiting. So Anthony, to get back to your question, tinker, as with any line of work, it really depends on the position you're on. So if it's an over the road versus a home daily, dedicated versus regional, that cents per mile is going to be different. And it also, here at Schneider, we pay based off your experience level. Right. So if you're 0 months of experience, your cents per mile is going to be very different than someone that's driving with 10 plus years of experience. So certainly just give us a call, apply, pick a position, and then we can go over that pay in more detail.
Right. And again, that is based off of two. I'm sorry, I was looking at their question and then my brain went to something else. Nathan asked how much, or how much you start at if you don't have a hazmat endorsement. Just like April just said, it's not, I have my hazmat, we're going to pay you a little more. Not like that. So everybody's at the pay based on experience, and then obviously you need to obtain that hazmat in order to haul any sort of hazmat load. Right? So that's kind of how that part works.
And then with obtaining that hazmat, again, we do have a great bumper-to-bumper program, self-paced, it really prepares you to take that hazmat test at the DMV.
Yep. And reimbursement, again, we mentioned before, those just joining will reimburse for that hazmat endorsement.
Yes.
If you have to get the license upgraded, I passed my test, now I have to go update it to show that I have a hazmat. Some DMVs will be like, okay, $15 please. We'll reimburse for that too, because obviously you're updating your license because you got the hazmat endorsement.
Right.
So we'll make sure to reimburse. Keep your receipts. Again, that's the big one. Keep your receipts all the time. So, all right.
Oh, Joseph, thank you for the lovely words. That is so nice for you to say. I'm going to read exactly what he has here. So, already a driver on the van side with Schneider, but I love watching these live streams to be up to date on what Schneider is doing and does. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you so much.
Joseph.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And another point to that too, not that Joseph wants to move around or anything like that. I have had people say well, I want to try tinker, but then maybe someday go into the van side or try your intermodal line of business. Is that something that I can do if I try this and it's really not my cup of tea? Absolutely. We have a internal transfer process that is newly updated too, so that if you are a current Schneider driver and you want to transfer to a different position, you saw something that
very
you think looks
easy to
better,
do.
you can literally apply right through your app, and then your manager will see that obviously you applied to a different position, and then we'll transfer you into that new position. So it's pretty easy and pretty slick. I've been hearing lots of good things about it too. So,
and if you are transitioning, say you are doing van like Joseph is to a bulk, there certainly is that learning curve because there's suddenly a lot more involved. We will help with that training, hoses, all of that, tank wash, all of that to make sure you are comfortable working in that new line of work.
Right, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit now that we're talking about additional stuff, training. If we're being honest up front, it's long, but there's a reason for it. Marissa mentioned safety is our number one core value. There's a lot of things that go into being a tanker driver to make sure you are safe. So orientation, whether you're experienced or inexperienced, is longer than if you were just to haul dry freight. So let's start off with just experience. So experience orientation, no matter where you are, if you're coming on a tanker position, is about 3 weeks in length. Give or take, kind of depending on the schedule and things like that. I've had drivers before say, I've been driving for 20 plus years. Why do I have to do 3 weeks of orientation? Again, just for that same reason. Safety. And you may have driven tanker for a different company and you think, I wanted you to do this. Well, now we want to make sure, though, we're doing it the Schneider way and making sure that you are safe. So there's a lot that goes into it. And it's not just like you're, in a classroom every day. So many different things that are broken down. So you still do the typical pre and post trip planning, driver simulators, things like that you would do in a dry freight type of position. But we also add in then spending just 2 days loading and unloading a tank. Because it's more than just, I think a lot of people assume, I'm going to plug in the hose, turn the valve, boom, done. A lot more to it, depending on what you're hauling. Liquid, maybe you need it kept at a certain temperature. You may have to, if you were to spill anything, that's a whole different ball of wax that we need to walk you through how to, one, report it and how to clean it up, depending on if it's a hazmat or if you're just hauling water. So we really go through that extensively. So that's why it is as long as it is for our orientation. Again, making sure you're safe. So.
Yeah.
To talk a little bit more about orientation as well, do you want to talk about like transportation, our hotel stay, kind of cover that a little bit?
Yeah, so a lot of questions we get is, how am I going to get to orientation? Where am I going to stay? I'm going to be traveling out of town. We do cover the cost of that hotel, and then we also provide transportation depending on how far you are from the orientation location. We'll reimburse you for fuel, or we'll provide a Greyhound or airfare. We can also reimburse up to $300 for a rental car. So we have a lot of different options for you, really whatever kind of works best for you. And then of course you'll be traveling day before orientation. Orientation starts every Monday, and then you'll check in the hotel. We really want to make sure that you're well rested and just ready to start training on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mondays, every Monday we have an orientation. Now with holidays coming up, we have a little bit different schedule. Just talk to your recruiter about it, but majority of the time, every Monday. We didn't happen to inexperienced orientation. So we mentioned experienced orientation about 3 weeks. Inexperienced is a minimum of 28 days. And I say minimum because we have seen if somebody just needs additional help, orientation going a little longer. Again, safety. And the inexperienced driver is going to be out with a training engineer for about 7 to 10 days too, just dependent on their schedule as well. So a lot goes into that training. We want to, again, making sure you're safe. So you get paid for it, all that good stuff. We'll take care of you. But we just want to make sure that you yourself feel comfortable that once you are in a truck by yourself for the first time doing a tanker load, that you don't feel completely lost. And you know how to handle any sort of situation that's thrown your way. So,
and speaking of orientation as well, a lot of drivers ask, where is that orientation going to be located? I'm not sure if we mentioned this or not yet. No? Okay. So the two locations are going to be Coraopolis, Pennsylvania, or Houston, Texas. So drivers are like, well, I know you have orientation sites other places. Why can't I go there? The way we have it structured is that those are the two hubs, if you will, where we have that training for this particular line of work. So you might have to travel a little bit further, but like Marissa had said, we can help with that transportation. We help, we cover the hotel stay. Most of your meals are covered. You are paid. So we try to make it as financially painless as possible during that, quite long orientation, but it's to have you more prepared out on the road as well.
Right. I want to talk a little bit too now about, I mentioned real quickly earlier about policies and things like that, liquid, latex, and allergies. There's other few stipulations in terms of being a tanker driver too that we just want to make sure that you are well aware of in case it doesn't sit with you. So not only allergies to liquid latex, if you have any sort of beard or anything like that, part of our policies for a tanker driver, you must be clean shaven daily. Reason being, if you need to wear a respirator of any kind while you're loading or unloading a tank, it needs to fit cleanly and snug around your face. You can have a mustache, just wouldn't be able to exceed the corners of your mouth. So if that's an issue, then tanker might not be the best fit. So again, it's the safety key of it. So want to make sure that everything is fit, snug, nothing could, any fumes could get up or anything like that. To kind of counteract with that, if you wear contacts, we ask that you not wear those for a tanker, that you wear glasses instead. Again, safety. If anything were to ever splash back in your face or in your eyes, we want to make sure your eyes are protected. We won't provide you with other protective equipment.
Yes.
So a face shield, whatever it may be, but that's just another added guard to your face. So we don't want to make sure anything splashes back in your eyes too. So a couple different things that we will walk you through when you're getting you set up for orientation, but just to make you aware on the front end. If any of these are issues, then a tanker might be maybe something on the back burner. So And I also didn't mention the pre-work screen either.
Yes.
So if you wanted to talk about the pre-work screen a little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely. So for certain lines of business here at Schneider or particular dedicated accounts, we do what's called a pre-work screen. What that is the driver does a different variety of exercises, and then we measure the heart rate. We want to make sure that the driver is physically fit for the job at hand, and with tanker there definitely is more of a physicality to it. You're not just simply sitting and driving all day. There is, getting in and out of the truck, hooking and unhooking hoses, and the hoses locations can be in different spots of the tanker. And there also is that catwalk up on top where you have to be okay with heights, because that's about 13 feet high, to be able to be up there and feel comfortable, and being able to move around without, any health restrictions or anything like that. So with that pre-work screen, it takes place on the very first day of orientation. We ask that you don't eat like a heavy meal right before, no caffeinated products, no tobacco use, pack some, gym clothes, if you will, like a light t-shirt and maybe some gym shorts, so you have a better range of motion while you're doing those different exercises. And then they measure that heart rate. So just another caution and safety, method that we use to make sure that you're in good health for the position that is more physical.
Right, absolutely. David mentioned too, he had commented, and again, you can keep commenting as much. If we don't get to your question, we'll answer back after we're off the air.
Yeah.
So David mentioned asking if there's anything in Michigan. He was over the road with us back in 2015, now active duty Army. First off, thank you so much for your service.
Yes.
Good quarter of our fleet has some sort of military experience or was or is currently in the reserves. So if you leave the military, we offer military pay credits depending on when you leave the military, when you're discharged. So ask your recruiter about that. And depending on where you live, obviously can always have a different position. So what I recommend, go to schneiderjobs.com and type in your zip code. I would say majority of our locations have some sort of tanker, depending on where you are.
Right.
Majority. So just type in your zip code to schneiderjobs.com, and you can filter to bulk or tanker as well to see if there's anything available that you might be interested in. So a lot of good stuff. Now, Joel mentioned if we have any dedicated out of the Northeast. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of, we don't have everything memorized, but I do know the Northeast does have quite a few different bulk runs, things like that. So if you want to check it out, you have plenty of experience.
Yeah, and you have the hazmat, you have the tanker, so definitely
Schneider
just
jobs.
Yep, Schneider jobs, and put your zip code in and see what's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Asmani. I saw him too. He said he's currently in orientation right now, so good luck. Awesome. I love the shout outs too that close us out. So now we wanted to mention too, we kind of went through what different protective equipment. We have, if you always, when you're loading and unloading a tank, I guess the only things you have to provide are long sleeve, long pants, and a pair of non-skid steel toe work boots. Now, steel toes, if you don't have a pair, that's okay. We do offer a brand new pair at orientation for a one-time payroll deduction of $50. So that part is the best, because steel toes are uber expensive no matter where you go. So $50 is a steal. I always say if you don't have a pair, wait till orientation, because easier to
Or if you need a backup, if yours are getting a little shabby,
it's
buy
still
another pair.
a great price.
Right. So those are the only things you have to bring along with you. The rest we'll provide to you. So any sort of protective suit, respirator mask, whatever it may be, we'll take care of that for you. So no worries on that.
And it looks like we got another question coming in from Jordan asking about home time. So really great question. Kind of depends on the position you're going to. So there are going to be some that are home daily positions, and over the road you're out for a minimum of that 2 weeks, and then home for usually that 2 days. Regional, we can get you home typically on a weekly basis for that 34 to 48 hour restart. So it really just depends on the position that you apply for.
Right.
Definitely when you do apply, going to schneiderjobs.com, one of the big things that we talk about as recruiters is going through the details of the position. So that's the first thing that we will go over, giving you more of an outline of that particular position and what that home time looks like.
Right, absolutely. Somebody's asking about truck driving schools as well, like doesn't have their CDL yet, but looking to get into that. We have a really great tool on Schneider Jobs. It's not just applying for positions, but we also have a list of helping you find a truck driving school if that's what you're looking for. So whether it be you had it in the past and just kind of need a refresher or something to that effect, type in your zip code, or the Find My Truck Driving School, goes by state. So you can literally look by state. And these aren't all the truck driving schools. It's just ones we've heard good things about, have worked with in the past, something like that. And they'll let you know if they offer grants. If you're in the military and have GI Bill benefits, it'll tell you if the school will take those GI Bill benefits as well to help pay you for the school. So lots of really good tools on there. So if you're looking to find a truck driving school, Schneider Jobs is the place to go. So you can definitely, it's got lots of great tools other than just looking for positions. So.
Now, something else to mention that I don't think we went over is park location. So a lot of times we get asked, can I bring the tanker home with me? Well, because you're hauling bulk liquid chemicals, you're unable to bring that home with you, of course. So you would be parking either at a local tank wash or an operating center. And then your recruiter, who you're working with during the application process, of course, will let you know what location you're going to be parking at closest to home, but just something to add for park location.
Actually. And that can be a little tricky sometimes depending on where you live. It can be a little more rural. A lot of people say, well, there's a big truck stop down the street from me. I guess it depends on what the truck stop is and what it entails. We need to make sure that liquid bulk chemical is secure. So that's why we really say one of our approved tank washes or our approved operating center is really ideal for those parking locations. So Paul asked, our tanker drivers long haul? So yeah, for our over-the-road positions, absolutely. You can get a lot of solid long hauls in there. We have mentioned home time before. I think one thing that we need to emphasize too is if you want to stay out longer than what your position says, go right ahead. Yeah, we're not gonna say no to that. So we've had some drivers that are just like, I'm just gonna keep staying out for a little while longer. I don't need to go back. And awesome, good for you. And they really have seen some pretty decent paychecks.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to do that, if you want to stay out longer, you are more than welcome to do so. That's not something we're going to say no to.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have another question coming in from Ari. How much is orientation paid? The orientation is paid at $80 a day. That is for inexperienced and experienced orientation. Drivers are paid that $80 a day.
Now, there are a couple locations that did up that.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yep, for experienced orientation, you are then paid at $100.
I'm sorry. Yep, my mistake.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
We have so many different places to keep track of. It's
lots of changes.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we kind of went through a variety of different things. Kind of talked a little bit about truck driving schools as well, transitioning park locations. We do have extra additional tools while you're out on the road if you just need help. So we have consultants that are always on board too if you just need, like, for any reason can't get a hold of your DBL, or if it's off hours and you just really need a question about this happened, so how do I proceed next? We have people on staff that are there to help you out and answer those questions for you. We also have a messaging system that is constantly being updated too. So if you put in a request for, hey, I am at this customer and they allowed me to use their restroom, which was really awesome, please make sure to let other drivers know. That can be updated too, to let other drivers know that, this is a great customer to unload at. Or again, that also serves the purpose too. If you have a question, you can free-form that question, goes to our operations, and then you can actually see the progress of, hey, somebody read my question. Hey, it's being worked on if it's an issue, and now I got a response. So instead of calling in and waiting to get a hold of somebody that you're not sure if you're talking to the right person, this helps as well.
Yeah,
So,
it's a great support network when they're out on the road.
Yeah. All right. I had to live near Houston. Okay, so Abraham asked if there's any certain regions you have to live in order to be considered for tanker. He was told he had to live near Houston. I'm not sure where you heard that. So you don't have to live near Houston. No. Houston is just where we have one of our bulk operating centers. We have tanker positions all over the country. It's just where you may need to travel for orientation. So maybe a little bit of a misconception, but it's definitely not someplace that you have to. You don't have to live in Houston. You don't have to live in Pennsylvania. We have tanker positions out of Illinois. That we'll have other things. Oh, and he said, "Go Pack Go!" I know. We were wondering if we were going to get any bit of feedback for that. But we are out of our corporate headquarters in Green Bay, so have to show our pride and spirit when they try to take on the 49ers this weekend. So that'll be
Hopefully we win.
interesting. It will be a battle. It will definitely be a battle. So again, if you have any additional questions, feel free to just keep asking them. We'll respond to those once we're off the air. And apply to Schneider Jobs. We would love, if you have those endorsements, we have them. Or if we have them. We don't have them.
We have the opportunities for the endorsements.
Oh, thank God it's Friday, right? Yes.
And if you are looking to give us a call, you can call 800-44-PRIDE, or you can text CHAT to 28,000. Definitely go to schneiderjobs.com, and thank you so much for all the great words of everyone that's viewing. Have a great weekend, everybody.
And a happy Thanksgiving.